So one of my subscribers, Nick Sherlock, emailed me a while ago and said that he had made a 3D model that you can print in a 3D printer of an adapter that makes you able to mount a microscope lens on your camera. And he offered to send me a printout of this adapter along with a microscope lens, which actually anyone can get on AliExpress or eBay or Amazon for like $20. I will link all of this in the description, the 3D model if you have a 3D printer and everything you need, and also links to the microscope lens I'm using. And I said, hell yeah, thank you so much for sending this to me, and now I'm out here today to try this. I know this is maybe more meant as a studio setup for focus stacking in the studio, because the depth of field will be very thin, but I love doing freehand out in the field, so yeah, let's try it. So I just saw a striped crab spider. Let's see if we can capture him. Since the depth of field is so extremely small, like, I don't know, 0.2 millimeters or something, I will try to make some focus stacks today to get a little bit deeper depth of field. So this lens is designed for 4 times magnification, and that is exactly what I get with this adapter by Nicholas. And that means that on a full frame camera I'm looking at 9 millimeters as the widest possible subject that I can photograph, and that is very tight, and it is also very shaky when you're trying to focus and compose your photo, but it's a fun challenge. When doing handheld stacks like this, I think it helps a lot to try to rest the lens on your thumb or your hand that's holding whatever you're photographing, and then you can just slowly twist the hand or the thumb to move the lens just tiny bit of a millimeter at a time, and that way you can get much more stable focus stacks than if you would just hold the camera in your hand. Try to rest the lens on the same hand that you're holding the subject, and it will be easier and you will get better results. So this setup feels very nice because it's so incredibly lightweight and slim compared to most other macro setups I've used. Sorry for interrupting this video, but now I'm sitting here editing it and I just realized that I haven't talked about each component in the setup, and I'm sure lots of people will ask about them, so here we go. The lens is an AMscope 4 times magnification microscope lens with a numerical aperture of 0.1. I have found it for as little as $20. You can look on Amazon, eBay, maybe AliExpress. Sometimes you can find this lens unbranded. And the adapter, of course, is the one designed by Nick Sherlock. Look in the Thingiverse page if you want to print one yourself. The flash is my good old trusty MK320 from Micael. And the flash is mounted on a pretty special adapter. As you can see, it angles the flash, and it's very handy to have this when you wanna angle a flash without adding too much extra weight to your setup in macro photography. Unfortunately, it's really bad quality, and I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone quality-wise if it wasn't for the fact that this is the only adapter of its kind that I know of. When I look for it now online, it seems to be discontinued. I see a product page for it on B&H Photo, so I will link to that. Otherwise, I think you will have to look deep and maybe try to find it used. The diffuser is just a piece of packing foam that I cut with a scissor. And yeah, that's it. Let's continue the video. The lens weighs nothing, the adapter weighs nothing, the diffuser weighs nothing, the flash weighs nothing. It's just very lightweight, and that's a nice feeling. But at the same time, the lens is very long with this adapter, which makes it a little bit harder to focus, because I always find it easiest to focus when the lens is short and when you have a short working distance, so that whatever you're trying to focus on is very close to the camera. Then I find it easier. Yeah, but so far so good. So this lens is f4, but since it's 4 times magnification as well, it's actually f20 if you count the magnification. So it's very, very dark using this lens. You definitely need a flash. And also, since it's f20, in reality there should be a little bit of diffraction in there, but I still think the pictures will probably be pretty sharp. We'll see. The working distance is very, very short. You can get it a little bit longer by removing this metal cover here, but I'm too lazy to do that, and I'm okay with a short working distance. It's, I don't know, it's like 3 centimeters or something with the metal thing here, but that's okay. Here we have ladybug. First full-size ladybug I see this year. Let's try to capture him. When I look at the sharpness that this lens produces, I think it looks pretty damn good, at least when I look here in the camera. A nice thing with using a lens like this and a setup like this for freehand macro photography is that since the lens is extremely thin, it's actually easier to kind of get in there and try to photograph an insect if it is sitting on a leaf or something. So you can kind of be on the same level as the insect in an easier way, since the lens is so very thin. With a big lens you kind of just push away the whole leaf and everything. I'm kind of doing that though with this diffuser, but still thin, narrow macro lenses are always a good thing. It's really hard doing handheld stacks, and if you don't do handheld stacks at 4 times magnification, the depth of field is just too thin. You don't get any nice photos, or at least it's very hard to get nice photos. And this is why I think I would probably not do many more photo walks with this adapter. It was fun to try it, but I think this setup is actually perfect when doing high magnification macro photography in a studio with a proper macro rail so you can stack easily. I would probably use this lens and this setup for that. But out in the field, I think this video illustrates very well why I think 2 times magnification is the sweet spot for most people when out in the field photographing insects. It's enough to get even the small insects, but it's not so much so that you get too thin depth of field and too much diffraction. So I think I will continue doing 2 times magnification when out in the field, and this guy will only be used in the studio. Thank you for watching. See you soon again. Don't forget to subscribe if you like macro photography. Bye bye.